So I've never heard of the California Golden Seals. Can you explain us what is that hockey team?
Well, what the Seals were, they used to be a team in the National Hockey League back in the 1960s and 70s. They came in with the other new expansion teams in 1967, and they lasted until 1976 before moving to Cleveland for 2 years, and they ended up merging with the Minnesota North Stars. The Seals are considered to be one of the worst teams of the post-expansion era, if not one of the worst teams of all time. They had a very, very devoted legion of fans. They had a very passionate fan base, but they never really had a lot of success. Even though they had many, many great players who went on to great things later on. They won Stanley Cups and won individual awards and became all-stars, but they never, as a team, became very successful.
And for you, where came the inspiration to write a book?
There's a few factors. Whenever I was a kid, I saw the uniforms at card shows like this, and it just became very fascinating to me. These names I'd never heard of before, and I saw lots of photos of the team, and I wanted to know more. So as a kid, I was about maybe 11 or 12 or so, and I started doing a bit of research on the team with using hockey cards as the only source that I really had. And then as time went on, the internet became popular, and different articles became available on different newspaper archive sites. I was able to do more research, and then it developed into a book. And then I eventually interviewed a few players, and it just grew from there.
And for you, what would be the most interesting thing you found out about the Golden Seals?
I think the most interesting thing, there's quite a lot, but just thinking off the top of my head of one of the most interesting things was everyone knows that at one time they wore white skates because their owner thought it was a great idea to have the team wear white skates. His name was Charlie Finley, and he used to own the Oakland A's baseball team, and they also wore white shoes. So he thought it would be a great idea for the players to wear white skates in the NHL, which of course is a bad idea because for one, players always wore black skates, and it was always seen as white skates were seen as being something women would wear. So it didn't really match with the rough exterior of a hockey player. So that wasn't necessarily the thing that I learned. What I learned was that they actually used to use latex house paint to paint these skates almost after every game because they would get scuffed with puck marks and stick marks. So it was a constant. They constantly had to paint these skates, and the players would swear that they became heavier and heavier as the season went on. So I thought one thing that was a little interesting was that in the first season they decided to wear the skates. They were going very, very well until they started painting their skates, and then the last month of the season or so, you could see that they were definitely not playing as well. So were the skates a little bit heavier, and it caused them to lose a few points in the standings? It's hard to say, but it would seem to play out that what the players said is true.
What do you think happened to them to completely disappear as a team?
The biggest factor was, attendance wasn't very good in Oakland, where they played for pretty much their entire history. So that was one factor. They lost a lot of money, and they ended up having a good owner towards the end of their existence in the last 2 years. And his plan was to create to build a new arena in San Francisco where there were more hockey fans. Unfortunately, there was a mayoral election right around the 1976 mark. The new mayor decided he did not want to build a new arena, so they ended up having to move the team to Cleveland because they had no suitable place to play. The Oakland arena was just too small. They needed somewhere bigger to play, and they needed an arena where hockey fans actually were located. So they decided to move to Cleveland, which wasn't a very good idea to begin with. The rink was beautiful, it was large, but it was really out in the middle of nowhere. It was nowhere near any big cities like Cleveland. It was really out in the middle of nowhere. Kind of like the Senators playing in Canada. It's a very long distance, but even further in Cleveland. So the team didn't work there either, and then they had no choice but to fold them.
What would you say happened to their legacy?
Their legacy, well, that's actually pretty easy because the team still lives on in a certain way with the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks are there in large part because the Seals kind of laid the groundwork for a hockey team in California. There was a team in LA, but in the Bay Area, the Seals were really the first team. And a lot of these fans that watched the Seals for many, many years ended up becoming Sharks fans. And the Sharks are doing very, very well now. They sell out constantly. So the area is a very, very good spot for a hockey team. It's just the timing wasn't really right. But also, if the Seals had been a winning team, they might have been more successful and they might have lasted a bit longer. But because they didn't win many games, it was hard to draw fans and to get them to come back over and over again.
And just to conclude, are you a Sharks fan, and why?
I'm actually not a Sharks fan per se.
Okay.
I was cheering for them when they went to the final a few years ago against Pittsburgh. But I'm actually a Montreal Canadiens fan. Sorry to say. But it's true. I've been a Montreal fan since the late '80s. The Seals are my adopted team. If they were around today, I probably would cheer for them. But the Montreal Canadiens have always been my team. I just can't switch like that, even though I do cheer for the Sharks.
So where can people buy the book?
So there's a couple different places you can buy it. It's not available in stores, but it is available online. You can go to Amazon.com or Amazon.ca. You can also go to my website, which is goldensealshockey.com. And there are links to the University of Nebraska website where it was published. Also links to Amazon where it can be purchased as well, either in hardcover form or in ebook form as well.
Thank you.